Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So today's video is going to be in English because this is an informative video and I think this is going to help a wide range of audience, and that's why I prefer to take it in English. So the video is basically about questions that you can expect in an interview when you apply for the position of a microbiologist. Okay, so this is basically focused on a type of audience, but still I think this is applicable to everyone who is from the field of bioscience, because you just have to change the word microbiology wherever it comes. So let's get into the video. So I've appeared for few positions where my position was to be a junior microbiologist or an intern. But never mind, the questions that come for all these positions are more or less similar, unless and until you apply for a senior position, because then the questions become a little more complicated. So this is applicable for the ones who are entering to a new job for the first time, for the freshers, and for interns as well. So just keep that in mind. First few questions will be probably general questions. They'll ask you, why did you select microbiology? What made you select the subject? You should remember that you should never give an answer where you're telling something bad about some other subjects. I've heard a lot of people telling, I hate maths and that's why I took bioscience. Maybe that's the reality, but you should never give such an answer because that doesn't show your passion towards the subject. Your answer should be precise and it should really focus on the passion and love that you have towards microbiology. Next question can be probably, what current role are you playing, or what is the position that you are currently decorating, and how does your typical day look like? So it doesn't mean that how you should say your whole life as a person, but rather the question is about, if you are currently doing or working on some project, how does your day look like when you're carrying out that project? That's what they're expecting from you. So you should think that none of the questions are personal, but rather they're asking you to connect it with your project or with your working position along with the day in your life. So you should always keep it a point that none of the questions are about your personality or about your personal life. Okay? One thing that you should keep in your mind is that you should never lie in your interview, because this is science and there's nothing that you can cook up in between. So if you tell an answer, there's a high probability that that answer is going to be the next question. So if you're telling that you're well equipped with PCR or some techniques, they can definitely ask you some questions related to that. For example, can you tell me what will you do if the results that you get after doing your PCR is not what you expected? So if you do not know the troubleshooting methods that you should actually do when such kind of situations arise, then you'll never be able to answer that question. So make sure that you are telling what you know and you're not going to blabber something that you have no idea about. So this is an interview and you're going to decorate a position. So you should actually have an idea about what you are speaking. And actually we say in microbiology that less is more. It's just like that. When you give less information, you can elaborate it if a question comes again. All right. Another question that usually they ask is, can you tell about a project that you have done and it was quite challenging? So you should have an idea about the challenges that your project had or the challenges you might have had. You should have all such ideas in your mind. It should be pre-planned because you know this is going to be the question. So you should be ready with the answer. These are the questions that come in the general category that's in the first few minutes of the interview. Now let's go to a few questions which are a little challenging. One question that can really test your skill or knowledge as a microbiologist is, they'll definitely ask you about the ethical dimensions in your project. So here they're asking you to reflect on the challenges that you've encountered in the ethical dimension. So most of the projects that I've done had an ethical declaration form where I had to write that no organisms were harmed or there was no ethical issues in my project. So if you have had an ethical issue in your project, you should be well aware of what you did or what you will be doing. So that's a very important question which you have to answer brilliantly, the ethical side. Another question is to test your knowledge as a microbiologist, because not just a theoretical knowledge will help you. It's not going to help you. You should always be aware of what is currently happening. So there are a few websites which will give you information on what is right now happening in the world of microbiology. I'm mentioning the details about it in the description box. You can go through it. The American Society of Microbiology, Microbiology Society, Nature Microbiology, a few websites which are going to help you a lot. Another one interesting question that I had once faced is, how would you connect AI with microbiology, artificial intelligence with microbiology? There are a lot of answers that you can give because our lab is full of machines. It's having a lot of things to do with the laboratory work that you've done. So you should never go beyond the threshold point thinking about AI when such a question is being asked, because you were in a lab, you were surrounded by intelligence which is not yours. So you should try to connect it in a very simple way rather than giving a very tough explanation, because if you have the basic knowledge in microbiology, that is making clear that you know something about what you are doing, or you have an idea on what you are going to do. So there was this one question which I really loved answering, and in fact I felt proud of myself after giving this answer. The question was, how would you encounter the problems of the population in UK as a microbiologist? So you can give them an answer reflecting your personality and you as a microbiologist. So the answers that I gave was about antibiotic resistant bacteria. You should really be aware of antibiotic resistant bacteria because that's a very sensational issue. Another thing that I mentioned was about bioremediation, biotechnology and innovation in microbiology, industrial development in microbiology, waste management, food and hygiene, personal hygiene, and also how to prevent pandemic outbreaks. So this is a very, very good chance for you to give them an idea as to what you are as a person and as a microbiologist. Coming to the last set of questions in the interview, those questions will give you an idea as to what the interviewers actually think about you. One question that they asked me was, how would you guide students who are interested in pursuing microbiology? So that's a very tricky question because you have to give them a very simple answer, since you're not going to speak as a microbiologist. You're going to speak as a normal person to another individual, giving them an idea about the subject. So you should have a very simple answer to it. Another one question was, what kind of research or project would you like to engage in the future so that they can put you in the right project or in the right position that you're really interested in? So make sure that all the answers that you give are true and you're giving it with passion, because if you're put into some positions in which you don't have any interest, that's really not going to help you. You may be paid more, but at a point you will really get tired of what you're doing. So give them an answer which is actually about you and which will actually support you in your life. So these are the few questions which will help you enhance your skills. I hope it will help you in your interviews as well. So with more informative videos, we'll see in another video. Till then, bye-bye.